former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai is at the center of twin investigations involving alleged phone interception and financial misconduct. The federal government has filed a 3-count charge against El-Rufai at the Federal High Court in Abuja, accusing him of unlawfully intercepting the communications of the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, following remarks he made during a televised interview last week. The charge is filed through the Department of State Services, side provisions of the Cybercrimes Act and the Nigerian Communications Act. Meanwhile, Mr. El-Rufai has also honored an invitation by the EFCC over allegations linked to his administration in Kaduna State. Claims his camp has strongly denied. But let me allow you to look at what happened today, the scenes that we saw earlier today at the EFCC. Apparently, there were pro and anti-El-Rufai protesters, or those who went there to support either of the sides. So, and this is what it looked like today at the EFCC. And this is the pro side to the El-Rufai.
My name is Adam Toko from Kaduna State. When they take after. So you don't know when they will go with that.
Almost ending in a total chaos until security operatives had to shoot the tear gas to disperse the protesters, and those of them carrying placards, the pro and the anti-supporters of Nasir El-Rufai. To get insight on all of this one tonight, I have joining me a very senior lawyer, senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Deborah Adamson, here in the studio with me. Thanks so much, Leonard, for joining us tonight. And to get the security perspective, interestingly, he's also a lawyer. He's an extremism policy security consultant. Dr. Bulama Bukati, who is virtually with us. Thank you so much, Dr. Bukati, for your time tonight.
Thank you, Sean.
Let's first and foremost examine the legal point to these. And there are those who are concerned about the statement of Mr. El-Rufai saying he wiretapped, and he said they were listening, which invariably those who will say is the same thing, wiretapping, listening to someone's call, and says, look, someone did and gave it to him, and they heard that the NSA had ordered for his arrest. And the DSS, why is the DSS the one? Because it was against the NSA. Can you give us an understanding legally what that meant?
The starting point is clear. If you look at the National Security Agencies Act, it is clear about the role of SS, State Security Services.
Okay.
And one of it is to prevent security breach and to maintain peace within the jurisdiction of Nigeria. And where security of Nigeria is being threatened, DSS has a responsibility. This is clear. Cannot be taken away from them. Now, if you look at this critically, the statement made by Malam El-Rufai on the national television, you look at the implication. What is the intendment? What does he intend to achieve by those statements? To my mind, it's clear that this statement is capable of destabilizing this nation.
How?
First of all, you know that it's against the law for anybody to tap the communication of anybody without court order.
He didn't say he did. He said someone did.
Whichever way you want to interpret it.
Is it unlawful for him to use the information gotten from someone who has listened?
If somebody, the way I would interpret it is that it is possible that he has commissioned somebody to do that for him. That's possible. That's possible interpretation.
Okay.
But even if he did not do, assuming somebody had access to the communication of another person, another citizen of the Republic of Nigeria, and he taps him and gives to another person for his benefit, Is he not an accomplice? The law is clear. Assessed after the fact of the matter. So he cannot exonerate himself. But it's an issue of proof.
In the eye of the law and on law of evidence, what is said on national television, and when he doubled down to say, well, the state also listens to our calls. What does that mean? What kind of evidence is that? When you say that I did this and it's now being termed as a crime or an offense, what kind of evidence is that? And how tenable is that?
But the fact that somebody has done it, does that make, if a wrong has been committed by one person, can another person now use that as an excuse under our law? No. If somebody has done that on court, and you are caught in flagrante delicto, then you'll be held responsible. It's clear. Now, all these ones are saying the state has been doing it, so we too are doing it. That's a clear admission. It's a clear admission that we are doing it. Even though we have commissioned or somebody has done this on our behalf.
But whatever El-Rufai said in that interview, is it tenable in court?
Well,
as a form of evidence. What kind of evidence is that?
Good. They can corroborate whatever evidence the state has gotten against him. Yes, you may say, oh, he cannot give an evidence incriminating himself. You can say that. That's the law. But the question is this: can it be used as evidence to corroborate whatever investigation that state security service has obtained?
How strong is an offense someone commits to or confesses to in court? Under our laws.
You see, confessional statements or extrajudicial statements, who interpret to you that, oh, no, this is what is stated in the police or state agency or what. But this was made on the national television. What more evidence do you want? If somebody has said, oh, we have done this. Now, my expectation is this, and from what I've gathered, you discover that DSS has been investigating him on series of crimes. So it is clear that they have the evidence or investigative reports put aside. Now what he has said now consolidates, reinforces what DSS has found out. So to that extent, the entire gamut of the evidence, both from the investigative report and his own statements, it's a matter to be tested. It's a matter to be tested.
Based on what he said, would you say he's in trouble?
Well,
legally speaking.
Well, all I know is nobody is above the state. And nobody should be treated as a sacred cow in Nigeria. None is above the law.
Give me a moment, let us take. Let me bring in Mr. Bukati here. Security-wise, what are the perspectives that you have found out in the statement of Mr. El-Rufai? And he has also said that there are those who are planning to bring in some chemical and poisonous material into Nigeria. There are dimensions into what this man has said, the former governor of Kaduna said. What are your thoughts in terms of security? What does this mean?
In terms of security, El-Rufai over the past few days has made two very serious allegations. Number one is the importation of the chemical you were talking about. And the second one is the disappearance of Dadiata, the political activist who disappeared in 2019 in Kaduna. El-Rufai told us on national TV, or claimed on national TV, that it was the former governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, that got him abducted. Ganduje's spokespeople have come out and said it is a lie. But now that we have El-Rufai saying on national TV that he knows who abducted Dadiata, and this is a man with family, with a wife and children, who have been, whose breadwinner had been taken away. His father got sick as a result of him being abducted for the past 6 years. Now we have a former governor saying he knows who abducted him, and El-Rufai even claimed that one of the police officers who was involved in the operation told someone who then told El-Rufai. I think a commission of inquiry has to be instituted by the state government in Kaduna or by the federal government to investigate El-Rufai's claim and to provide answers to Dadiata's families and lovers. We have been fighting for him. Human rights organizations have been fighting for him for years now. Now El-Rufai appears to know something about it, and that needs to be investigated. On the chemicals, El-Rufai was right that the chemical he was referring to are poisonous, dangerous chemicals. And he claimed that it was about 10 kilograms was being imported or has been imported from Poland by the National Security Advisor's Office. However, the National Security Advisor's Office has responded to El-Rufai's letter saying what he claimed was not true, and that they have referred the matter to the DSS so that El-Rufai can go to the DSS and provide the evidence he has. And I think they are right to do so. If anyone makes a claim, they should be called before the DSS to be investigated. And I think El-Rufai has made statements similar to this in the past, and no one investigated him. For example, there was a time he claimed the Kaduna state government or the federal government has a policy of paying monthly allowances or wages or salaries to bandits. No one invited El-Rufai to provide evidence for that, and Nigerians would want to know if our governments are paying bandits in any way or manner.
So you're saying that in all of these things that El-Rufai has said, this particular time, we should not take it for granted. We shouldn't. Yeah, we shouldn't.
The
because no one should be allowed.
Seriously.
Yeah, no one should be allowed Sheon to come on national TV and start spewing stuff without any evidence. And when he talks about this chemical, we know that the chemical is corrosive and is restricted or controlled. But it is used in laboratory or in research. It is used for industrial purposes and other purposes. And it is Naseria, the National Environmental Standards and Regulation Agency, that is the primary agency that controls those chemicals. If they are being imported or have been imported, we need answers. And like the senior advocate of Nigeria said, El-Rufai is boss on national TV. His admission on national TV that they are wiretapping the phones of the National Security Advisor should be taken seriously. Sheon, let's set the record straight. What he said in the beginning was that they are listening to the calls of the National Security Advisor. And then the journalist told him, so you are essentially wiretapping him or tapping him. Then he said, yes, the government thinks they have their own way, but we have our own ways as well. And then he later said someone else wiretapped the National Security Advisor and gave him the information. Both of these things are crimes under the cyber crimes law. But also, there may be some crimes that might have been committed under the under the Official Secrets Act, which can carry up to 14 years of imprisonment, because the National Security Advisor's communication, most of them must be classified communication because he is the National Security Advisor. And if you have some Nigerians wiretapping him, I think they should be investigated. And El-Rufai has two options if this matter went to court. It is either he goes and says what I said on national TV was true, we are wiretapping him and therefore he has confessed to committing a crime, or he says I am lying and therefore he is admitting to be a liar. I think neither of them is good for him.
If in your own experience, this kind of statement, if you were to be in the US and the UK, how seriously do you think the government of those countries would take it?
Extremely seriously, because there are three major issues in this statement, Sheon. Number one is, what kind of country do we want to become? Do we want to become a country in which a politician can come on national television and confess to committing a crime and go scot-free? Or do we want to be a country in which no one is above the law? And if you ask me, not even Sardauna, not Awolowo, not Azikiwe can be above the law. If they came on national TV and confessed to have committed a crime, they should be investigated and punished.
All right.
Secondly, Sheon, we also need to be a country in which politicians are asked to provide their evidence when they make claim. We cannot allow politicians to spread misinformation, disinformation, and untruth. And so we should ask El-Rufai to provide evidence for his claims.
Just for us to close, Senior Advocate, where do you, I mean, as a lawyer, There are those who say that those charges are too lightweight considering the weight of what some Nigerians perceive, and perhaps maybe it's diversionary considering the case that he's facing in Kaduna and EFCC and ICPC. Just in 30 seconds, how do you think you can manage this situation, because it has a political dimension to it?
Well,
that they will say that the state is witch hunting a political opponent.
I don't believe that. The fact that you are employing politics into a serious issue in Nigeria does not mean you should not be accountable for your actions. If his actions are contrary to the law, he should be brought to the book. He should account for his actions. And, sir, if you look at the trajectory of this man, the way he has comporting himself, he's acting as if he's an emperor, to the extent that nobody can touch him. This same man who coined the theory of body bag, and nobody acted when he made that statement. Do we continue to watch him in that manner? So he must be punished accordingly if he's found guilty.
Adeboro Adamson, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Mr. Dr. Bulama Bukati, for officially confirmed. Dr. Bulama Bukati, thank you so much indeed, gentlemen, for your time tonight on the program.